Hi, this is Kathy Miller of Simply Stated Business, and today I'm going to offer a simple review for evaluating your business communication. Is there any better feeling than launching your business communication, especially after you've worked so hard on it? You're excited, but do you know if your employees or customers feel the same way? Don't assume because you haven't heard anything that everything's okay. Actually, no response is a response, and probably not one that you want. If you haven't done it already, schedule some time to look at your business communication strategy. Take a look at each project. You can schedule it monthly, quarterly, or whatever works for you, but it's a good idea to get it on the books and make it part of your routine. So to cover all the bases, let's look at three areas: planning, execution, and results. Okay, first the planning. This is kind of like the bread for your PB&J goodness. It's the foundation for everything else that comes. Think about what you want your business to be. If we look at Nike's mission, they want to motivate the athlete they say is inside each of us. Do you know what your vision is? And if you look at each of your business communication projects, does it help move you toward that vision? Now, as someone who hates labels, I do know that sending my communication to anyone who is breathing may be a tad too broad. On the other hand, if I narrow my target market too much, I could miss out on some opportunities. So think about who your customer is. Are you losing opportunities? For example, I'm part of the boomer generation, and I know at times I come against techie people who think that the boomers aren't a good market for them. Well, there's a lot of us, and a lot of us are online, so you might want to rethink that. So make sure you're focused on the right customer. Our favorite subject, budgets. It makes sense that when you're reviewing your business communication projects that you take a look at where you're at. Do you need to scrap some projects? Or maybe you can expand others. Having a budget helps you make those decisions. And if you don't have one yet, now's a good time to start. Okay, the next area we're going to review is your execution. How well are you executing your communication strategy? Look at the different mediums you're using for your business communication. Would a video instead of a blog post improve the number of potential customers that are viewing your communication? And you want to look at each communication project separately because sometimes a different medium is going to change based on what kind of communication you're doing. So take a look at it. If the particular communication method you're using isn't working, you might want to try something different. And then you want to look at if you have the right people in the right roles. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're fly solo like I do, you may think this doesn't apply, but maybe it does. Are you doing some things that you hate to do, or maybe you know you're not very good at? For example, maybe you're not good at graphic design, so maybe you want to outsource that. And if you do have employees, do you have the right people in the right spot that are playing to their strengths? It makes a big difference if people enjoy what they're doing and are good at what they're doing. Now, we'd all like to think that every message we send out is crystal clear, but how do you know if it is? Do you receive feedback or great reviews? Or is the only sound you hear the sound of crickets, not something any of us want to hear? So to make sure your message is clear, one way is you might get a separate set of eyes on it and see if it's as clear to them as it is to you. It's a good idea that we take a look at how the projects are progressing. Are there any looming deadlines? Or maybe you need to push back on a rollout. This is a good time to take a look at the status of your projects and tweak anything that needs to be tweaked because of maybe some unforeseen obstacles that popped up. Okay, and the final area review is where the rubber meets the road. Results. Do you have measurements for determining how successful your communication is? I mean, how do you know if you're doing well if you don't measure it? Maybe it's increased sales, maybe it's more good reviews, but you need to have some kind of benchmark to evaluate how you're doing, and they need to be realistic. I mean, it's a nice goal to say that you want a 100% increase in sales by the end of the month, but it's not realistic. So you want to have good benchmarks, the right benchmarks, and you want to make sure that they're reasonable. Now, at this point, you have a lot of valuable information that you've gathered from reviewing your planning and execution and your results. So you can take a look at it and see if there's an area you can adjust for better results. Now, if you're doing really well, then just full steam ahead. But this is a chance for you to tweak anything that needs tweaking. You might even decide that it's time for a totally different approach. Maybe it's time to scrap what you have been doing and try something new. Now, as a little reward for those of you who have stuck with me this far through the video, how would you like to make your review even simpler? Well, we can do that. Simply ask these 3 questions. What went well? What needs improvement? And what's next? This is Kathy Miller of Simply Stated Business, and I thank you for watching.